近代小説序論っていうのは20世紀の代表的な小説家の肖像、新入生でも取れるって。近代小説序論
Apparently we're huge in Australia. It's nice to know that that the show does really well elsewhere.
I hear from people all the time that the show, in certain countries is really big. I mean, it was always meant to be universal. It was always meant to be something anybody could relate to. It wasn't supposed to be, only for teenagers or only for people who lived in California. There was, it's supposed to be, stories about life, the universal angst of life, writ large. So the fact that people in other cultures are responding to it is, terrific.
Se divertirán con la profesora Walsh. Es todo un personaje.
¿Has tomado su clase?
Sí, de hecho, la ayudaré en su materia. Lo siento, olvidé por completo mis modales. Soy Raleigh.
Willow, y ella es mi amiga Buffy.
A friend of mine's from Germany, from Bavaria, and he knows I'm on the show, and he said, if you could get me anything from Buffy at all, a hat, a T-shirt, anything, I'd be the most popular man in Germany. Just get anything. So I gave him a mug and a T-shirt and a hat, and he wrote me a letter that said that his niece is now the most popular girl in all of Bavaria because she has a Buffy hat.
In general, I think that overseas, in Canada and France and Germany, there's not such a stigmatism against science fiction and horror and fantasy. And so they fully appreciate the strengths of the show.
The international success of Buffy the Vampire Slayer is just bizarre. My wife and I were in Paris for our honeymoon, and I was in a comic book store, and I in my halting French, told the guy I wrote for Buffy, and he's like, oh, yeah, Buffy, big deal. He was very unimpressed, and then we left, and I could see him telling his friend, the guy wrote for Buffy.
Acho engraçado quando você grita. É como...
I was really lucky. I got to go to England this past summer, and to walk down the street and have people go, oh my God, it's Tara from Buffy. I'm just like, whoa, they don't do that in LA. You'd think, LA's like the Hollywood, but no, nobody cares. There it's just like, oh my God, it's Tara.
It was really weird in France because Alex. They were just so floored by the fact that I was there. It's like, what are you doing here? You're a big star. And they were nothing but kind and lovely, and we got a lot of free champagne.
Il suffit que tu saches que j'ai échangé ma voiture contre une autre qui n'était pas entièrement rouillée, que je me suis réfugié dans les bras de mes parents bien-aimés, et là j'ai constaté que rien n'avait changé, excepté que j'ai dû dormir dans la cave et que j'ai payé un loyer. Et toi, à la fac?
Chippendale.
Rien ni personne sur cette terre.
Mais si. Non, c'est très bien.
I noticed that in France, it was most intense. In France, they physically tried to rip my clothes off.
I know that some of my actors have been to France, and Alyson was like, I'm a rock star. Oh my God. She was like, people were running after her car going, Alyson, Alyson. And she was all excited.
I did a Buffy convention, and people were like trying to stake out the hotel room and the whole, it was I felt like a little rock star. It was very weird.
England's great because it was our last stop from our 5-week whirlwind trip through Europe. It was the first time that I had been there and I was doing an autograph signing. It was the same thing there with the show. It seems to be doing well over there, and God bless them. Thank you very much.
As far as the BBC is concerned, the fact that they not only bought it, but they then put it on twice a week. That's cool.
Hi, I'm Danny Strong, but you may know me as Jonathan Levinson from the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I portray one of those slayers. What you probably didn't know is that besides being a famous TV star, I'm also a Dictionarium Demonicus Encyclopedia Conquiso, or in layman's terms, a licensed demonologist.
That won't keep me awake all night.
Vampires only form nests to make hunting easier. They're not big on the cooperation. They mostly like to hang out all creepy and alone in the shadows.
Tonight, I will be your guide in exploring the many different demons and otherworldly beasts that have appeared on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So, join me now as we delve deep into the underworld with something I like to call Demonology, a Slayer's Guide.
If the demon has a real part to play, we're very, very specific about exactly what that demon should be like.
Not an easy job, by the way. There's only so many things monsters can look like.
Demons come in many different shapes and sizes. We as demonologists have taken great strains to sort these various demons into different categories. So if you thought a demon was a demon was a demon, well then, you'd be dead wrong. Which brings us to our first category. Dead things that aren't really dead until Buffy makes them dead demons.
I live, you die.
Are these vampires? I don't think so. Buffy, heads up! No.
The zombies that we built for Dead Man's Party were actually recycled from a previous episode we'd done called The Zeppo, which was kind of a fun episode with, I think, 2 or 3 different storylines where I think Xander gets to actually kind of be a hero and save the day.
It's in the boiler room. All right. Now I'm gonna ask you this once. Okay, you better pray you get the answer. Okay. How do I defeat?
I mean, a zombie's kind of a zombie anyway. It's not like it's a real distinctive design, like a particular demon with a certain pattern of scales or anything like that.
Once you forget your old life and embrace your destiny as I have, you will know power you've never dreamed of.
Adam, big guy, kind of sweet. Frankenstein-y.
Mommy.
I just loved the way he looked and the manner he brought. It was very different. His sort of, the interest he had in the world, the sort of childlike thing.
I've been thinking about the world. I wanted to see it.
The problem we had with him was that his big emotional connection was with Riley, and it was very cerebral. So ultimately, fighting him didn't have the resonance that fighting the Master or fighting Glory had.
Our next category involves those evildoers that are not only unattractive on the inside, but equally unappealing on the outside. Those in the know call them, oh God, does someone know a good dermatologist? Demons.
I will not miss again, Slayer.
I like the name Toth because I got a joke out of it later.
Toth? What?
He called you a Toth. It's a British expression. It means like moron.
That was kind of cute.
The Slayer is not here.
Rabbit's foot, no, wait.
He looks like he's the cracked surface of lava.
If I remember correctly, I think that was something that was actually somewhat in the script, that there was this kind of idea that he was like this walking mass of lava. I know that we did the makeup and sculpted this kind of cracked, it's kind of like almost like some of the makeups that were done in the movie The Altered States, you know, where it was like this, you know, cool down lava and these big cracks forming.
We did the old put the black light on him trick, which always looks really good.
We use like the system called Wildfire, which is kind of commonly used for these blacklight effects. And the blacklight itself doesn't necessarily show up on normal skin, but if it has anything that has a reflective surface, like Scotch-Light paint that we used, it kind of glows from within.
Our next chapter in the Encyclopedia of Evil concerns the transformation of demons. These bad boys are called, I bet you thought I was human when in actuality I'm this really pissed off, hideous demon.
Kid, wanna see a trick?
We wanted Doc to be really benevolent. We wanted for him to feel pretty cuddly, and Joel Grey sort of personifies that. He's just a really warm, really friendly person who really lets you in, and who I feel like you would trust. And then he also can play that dark side.
Let me know how it goes.
We're talking about a guy who at once is really attractive and charismatic, and on the other hand there's something wrong.
Demon! Demon!
I always liked the demon that Giles turned into in A New Man. He wasn't quite as fearsome as he could have been, but I thought he looked very real.
We wanted to have that real classic demon kind of look, like the red skin, the ram horns, and it just, again, it seemed like it was just appropriate for that story for it to be very classical in nature, because it's like one of the main characters is becoming a demon.
You just come over all demony this morning?
As a matter of fact, I did, thanks to Ethan Rain. You have to help me find him.
I loved the makeup. I thought it was great, and it's fantastic what you could do, and also just wanted me to be able to be recognizable underneath it all.
If you thought those were some nasty folk, wait till you check out this gallery of the disturbed. I give you the you summoned me, so as long as I'm here, I might as well rampage and kill demons.
Sir, forgive me. I just want to understand, why summon the Queller?
Because I'm cleaning up Glory's mess.
Something truly creepy. A slug-like thing that crawls on the ceiling and spits goo in your face. I thought that worked out really well because she freaked me out.
I wouldn't touch that stuff in his mouth if I were you.
Toxic?
No, just messy.
We got a chance to do, I think the first and maybe only, at least to this point, alien character that we've done for the show.
Originally, the Queller Demon was supposed to be spidery. I pictured it very sort of spindly and like daddy long legsy. But of course, it's very hard to get an actor that, can fit in a spider costume. So it became more like a slug.
Stop staring at me. I don't like it.
The #1 challenge of that was to get somebody in this suit that was that small that we would be able to get on the ceiling. People would have to be standing in a room and a thing crawl over their heads. So we built actually upside down sets, and we had her crawl across the floor, and then we would reverse the whole frame and put it on top of the other set, on the other top of the other frame. And it would look like she was crawling over their heads. Ultimately, it became one of our creepier bugs because it didn't have very many human qualities at all.
You do well to flee, townspeople. I will pillage your lands and dwellings. Ooh, ale. I smell delicious ale.
The troll episode is awesome because it's like, look what we can do. One week we've got a guy, basically shooting up with vampires, and the next week we've got a giant troll.
The fun thing about writing the troll was that I wrote all of his lines in all capital letters, because I felt that everything that he said should be booming.
Barmaid, bring me stronger ale and some plump, succulent babies to eat.
This enormous guy who you sensed this sort of gentleness in.
Stop! You told the witch to do that on Yanka. You seem determined to put an end to all my fun, just like you always did when we were dating.
He has very dated references. He's all about mead and wenches.
Arise!
Sir, Hayan, Winhu.
Snake Demon from Shadow, a CGI monster. I mean, when we had the mayor, he was on screen for like 6 seconds, cost us a bundle, and it looked okay. This snake guy, this was the new shop, and they really put it out. We said, give us a snake-like creature, and we got a snake. He's amazing in the CGI version. In the live version, I felt like a little less snake, a little more monster would have been interesting. Also, he had his arms free, but he never moved them, so it just looked like they were fake. Ultimately, he got it done. He get the big scary and rises at dawn. It's a whole thing.
This brings us to our final flurry of fiends, the most terrible and evil of the bunch. We call them simply the I'm so hideously deformed that I couldn't possibly be played by a man in a rubber suit demons.
I can't get to the eggs unless it moves. No way.
I'll make it move. You just be ready.
Hey! Gora, heads up.
Right then. Heads it is.
We came up with a three-headed monster just because it was cool, and there was no particular symbolism to it.
Hey, get away from us!
It was like a 10-foot tall, three-headed demon. That in my mind, when I read the script, I was under the impression they were going to do this as a digital effect, which they've done in the past a few times with varying degrees of success. And to me, it seemed like this would have been better left that way. It should have probably been a hydraulic actuated puppet, and we really didn't have the money or the time to do something like that. So it was all cable controlled and manually controlled inside, and I don't know that we really got the range of movement that we were looking for.
Directing it was interesting because we discovered the day we got there that it could neither move forward nor backward. So we had to make it look really scary, even though people had to keep running up to it and throw rocks at it and stuff, and then run away. And we just used a lot of close-ups and stuff. It was a real director's lesson because I had an immobile monster, except for the heads. They could move.
Well, I guess my work here is done. I hope you've learned a thing or two about identifying demons, because you never know when one might come knocking at your door. But if you ever do come face to face with one of these beasts, do what I do. Run like hell.
The 3 ingredients are acting ability, intelligence, and look.
You know, I really think the thrall has gone out of our relationship.
What is this?
My true nature. You want taste?
Sarah's like old Hollywood.
You've heard of me.
She shows up on time. She knows all her lines. She understands the character better than anyone.
Nah. Really?
Sarah was originally brought in for Cordelia.
Well, guess again, pal.
We were still coming off of the way Buffy was conceptualized in the feature. It took us a while to come around to Sarah being Buffy, and it was a different Buffy, but it was clearly a Buffy. Anthony Stewart Head was the first person that got cast on the first day we started casting. He was just it. We weren't looking for somebody British. It just came into my head. Why not try that? It was Giles, it was a librarian. It could be somebody who's British.
Well, I'm not dead or unconscious, so I say bravo for me.
You know what? I'm sick of this crap. I'm sick of being the guy who eats insects and gets the funny syphilis. As of this moment, it's over. I'm finished being everybody's butt monkey.
Nicky was really cute, but didn't know he was.
Nick was a PA. Nick was a number of things. I don't think he was big on the acting before this.
He had this very self-effacing quality.
Like any of that's enough to fight the Dark Master.
It really worked for the character.
He walked right in and was just Xander from the first minute.
Guy's a genius.
That was a really hard role to cast. We actually had cast someone else in the pilot, and it just didn't work. So when we got picked up, we always felt that we were going to start again and look for another Willow.
You're essential.
The qualities that Willow had to have are the exact opposite qualities of what actresses have to have.
I can't help it. I just have all this involuntary empathy.
Sort of insecure, shy, self-effacing.
Should I be watching my occipital lobe? Your what? Occipital, the lobe in the back of your brain. You know, like, should I be watching my back? But, you know, the back of your brain.
Every line that somebody else would play like they were sad, Alyson was joyful about.
I found you.
It made her the only one for the role. We really wanted a warm mom in the midst of all this craziness.
When I auditioned, I had a little scene, and I think I had maybe 4 little lines.
I thought she and Sarah looked alike.
The next thing you know, you got a call offering you the part.
To her credit, Joss just kept writing for her and writing that relationship, and it was sad to see her go. David Boreanaz is my Lana Turner in Schwab's drugstore story. The breakdown said, the most gorgeous, mysterious, fantastic, the most incredible man on the face of the earth. I think I saw every guy in town. It was the day before shooting, and a friend of mine called me and said to me, you know, there's this guy that lives on my street who walks his dog every day, and I don't know what he does, but he is all the things you're describing. And the minute he walked in the room, I wrote down on my notes, this is the guy.
Stitch me up, Doc. Got places to go. And slayers to kill.
With the Spike role, we didn't know who he was.
When I first got cast as Spike, I thought it was just maybe 10, 15 lines maximum.
We thought he might be kind of a Western guy.
Tough talk, cowboy. And then they sent me the script, and he was all through the script, and they kept going to my girlfriend, honey, look at this.
We read a lot of people. When we finally found James, and he was such an incredible actor,
I love you.
we worked with different accents. We tried different things, and now most people don't even know he's American.
I was sure that he was from England the whole time I was talking to him.
You're a piece of work. I like you.
I have finesse. I have finesse coming out of my bottom.
Emma is a natural comedian.
It's just so lovely. Oh, I wish it was mine.
Emma just kept knocking them out of the park.
Go, Xander. I love you.
and is able to pull off this flighty Anya character every day where you really enjoy her character. You can see how Xander fell for her. She's cute and funny.
It's the best way it can happen is when a character resonates so much you can't let go of them. I had always imagined her as, you know, very tiny and bird-like, and we read a lot of girls. Amber came in and physically was not the type, you know. She was more womanly and voluptuous, and she gave an incredible read.
It's just hard. That outsider feeling?
But physically, it wasn't what I had been thinking about. And it was, in fact, Marty Noxon who said, we have to read that girl again. I think that's the girl.
What are you doing here?
Buffy, if you're going out, why don't you take your sister?
Mom!
Michelle has actually given me a pitch she had written out when she was like 13 of how she could be on the show.
I really wanted to be on the show. I'd constantly told my agents and managers that if there was a guest starring role, then, you know, I'd be more than willing to do it.
She was older than we had been thinking about.
I'm not a kid.
But I was like, well, she's pretty well known. Will she read? Sarah's like, she'll read. And so we did read her, and the moment she was done reading, our search was over. She was, you know, extraordinary, and she brought extraordinary depth to a scene that she had no idea what it was about.
Stunts rule, man. Stunts are the best.
Buffy is a very stunt-heavy show. Lots of fights, lots of weapons.
Stunt day is always my favorite day.
Anything that consists of physical activity that could be dangerous to the average person, I consider that a stunt.
John has a tough job. In a way, he's an extension of the writers, because they have to come up with something new every week. And John does too, because the pacing of this show and a lot of its appeal comes from its physicality and comes from its action sequences.
The thing that's different about Buffy is we not only have big karate-style fist fights, but we really have everything, including bringing the house down on people. We pull walls out, we throw people, we fly them. They hit the ground, they dive through everything. It's different every week.
The way to keep the fights and stunt elements exciting is to utilize the stunt people that work. And we have a wide variety of talented stunt people, from people who do martial arts to gymnastics to special skills. And I utilize their abilities. I don't just create them at the top of my head. Sometimes I see what they can do, and I'll utilize their ideas and just mold it into the scene.
As a stunt person, I've had some acrobatic background, which has helped a lot because we've been doing more wire work. And then just different martial arts and styles that we can incorporate to put them together, to come up with some new tricks that maybe she hasn't done before. I've been able to learn and experience some new things like air rams, which was a lot of fun. Descenders, going from ceilings down to the floor, crashing in. A lot of times it's a lot of fighting, so when we get to do those bigger ones, it's a lot of fun.
I love ratchets and wire work and any kinds of flips. My background is in gymnastics, so that style tends to come in a little bit. As you can see in the last episode, there's a big fighting scene, and there's also some gymnastic ability in that.
There are people surrounding me, including Steve Tartaglia, who are absolute masters of the craft of mayhem.
I just love the fights. When they yell action,
It's just like a boxing match. When the bell goes ding, you just enter the zone. And it's that zone that I think every athlete or actor even lives for. When there's a cut and you know you've nailed a good fight and everything is sold and they look at the playback and the monitor and everything is perfect, feels good.
Set.
I don't go about creating a fight style. I look at James. I see how he moves. I take the cues from there, starting with his character and his shoulder jaunt, and just really trying to pay attention to that body language, which sort of helps to dictate the feel of the fight. So I try to keep that in mind while working up the choreography with John, with the stunt coordinator. So when James does it, everything matches and blends seamlessly.
He's the guy teaching me the moves. Frankly, John doesn't have time. John is dealing with the larger picture. He's often directing the whole sequence. So when the time comes for me to do my shot, whether or not I actually am able to do it is up to Steve and I.
Action! Well, I'll send you your regrets! No.
Steve is an absolute maniac, though. Steve is secret weapon. He'll face plant from 8 feet for the gift. From 8 feet up, he took a horizontal face plant into 3 foam bricks. And that was on this stage, which is just concrete, man.
I basically launched myself off of a platform and tried to sell what looked like the perfect belly flop onto concrete. And there was a few bricks laying around, and one of them caught me in the zone, if you know what I mean. And I had to just lay still there until the camera cut, and then I promptly displayed my pain. Yeah. I'm nutted though. I got a nutter.
You got a nutter?
Yeah.
This is me. Hi. Hello. He's not my stunt guy. Steve is Spike, as am I. As is Joss, as is Doug Petrie, as is David Fury, as is Stephen McKnight, and everybody else who writes for him.
We have a great stunt coordinator in John Medlin, and we know we can rely on him to come up with interesting stuff. At the same time, sometimes we're very, very specific about the stunts because they're part of the story. Sometimes we know, we need a fight here. Give us a fight, show us what you got. That's too much, lose that, keep that. And sometimes it's, this fight has to represent something very specific. So we need this kind of movement from Buffy, this kind of movement from Spike. So it varies how much we use the coordinator up front and how much we put in the script.
In a production meeting, I'll read the script, and we'll see something like Buffy falls back after being blasted by a magical power blast of one of the demons. In that case, we'll figure out how big the blast is going to be. Where is she, the surrounding area? Is she capable of doing it? Is she capable of falling back? Because there are ways of cheating the stunt for her to be safe. Like in a close-up shot, someone could be behind her and spotting her, or we could put down a nice section of pads behind her so she can actually do it. And then we'll save the wide shot for the actual stunt person to really take a nice hard hit on the ground and sell it that way. So it all depends on the scene itself and who the actor is performing the stunt, and consulting with them and making sure everything is going to be safe.
Riley?
Buffy, what are you doing here?
My job?
Well, I just thought you were in the North Sector.
Watch out!
The physicality of the role and the job in general was something I like to do. I'm like, John, come work with me on this. I want to learn exactly how it goes. I want to be involved in all the choreography. I don't want to cheat any of these shots. I want to try to do everything I can myself. And he just handles it in such a professional way. He's safe. He's prepared, and he is still open-minded and allows the actor to jump in and do some stuff.
Ming Lee in Fool for Love, who did the sword and who was the slayer that was killed in the Boxer Rebellion, was so liquid and so in control with those swords. She placed those swords within micro inches for close-ups every single time. And we were fighting on cement covered by dust, which is not an easy floor space to fight on at all. and she was fighting with a sword with a principal actor, which is like a big deal because you're not supposed to hurt a principal actor.
There are certain gags that our actors are not allowed to do. They're not allowed to take big falls. They're not allowed to take hits. We don't let them do flips. A lot of them want to, but someone will get hurt. And so we just put a stop to the really dangerous ones, and we have stunt people to do that.
When John came aboard, he allowed us to make Buffy more physical, or use her whole body, to flip, to do a lot of wire gags, they call them, that we weren't able to do early on.
Those are really nice shoes.
Giles, now!
The most exciting and thrill type stunts that we've done, exciting for us to do, was the horse chase scene with the Winnebago. It's where we had a bunch of night-type characters chasing the Winnebago full of the Scooby Gang inside, and once they caught up to the Winnebago, they had to climb on top. Buffy jumps on top of the Winnebago, pulls out the sword after defeating one of them and kicking them off the top, and you have a nice ground hit. And of course, we're moving at good speed, so there's a lot of dangerous elements there. You have the risk element of people falling off, so they have to have good balance and good fight skills and be aware of their surroundings.
The trick to directing stunts is to keep everything moving. We try and go handheld with these things as much as we can. John and the director will go down and walk through the stunts, try and choreograph everything we can ahead of time, try and plan where the gags will be, which are people being pulled up on wires or being launched off of air rams or some specific gag that special effects will rig. And our stunt people are very good, and we don't really have a problem with matching the action. They're all very talented, and they'll go in and shoot a master. We'll shoot a big wide shot that has the full action, and then we'll bring our actors in and have them go in and do specific hits and falls and ducks and little parts of the action, and we just edit the whole thing together as one piece.
Rolling, rolling.
And 3, 2, 1, dirt, drop. Good. Howdy, that was an A+. Thumbs up? Thumbs up, all clear. Okay.
Who has the least fear? And that has nothing to do with who has a... I can't talk, sorry. That's like a business class ticket to Cool with complimentary mojo after takeoff. Sorry. Don't look at that camera, it's bad.
I don't mean to.
Very bad.
I just think that, well, I don't want you getting into trouble,
Oh, yeah, Mr. Faithful. Probably met up with some hot little monkey.
You better be careful not to put somebody's eye out with that thing. Until I tell you to. Until I tell you.
She says he's clean.
Yeah, well, I say we can't afford to find it. God.
You know, Oz, look at all. Stop hitting me, Xander.
Wesley Wyndham Price.
I like a man with 2 last names. I'm Charisma. I'm Cordelia.
There must be something about this. About this.
What's the line? Really? You can do it. You can do it.
None of them are really the type that I go for.
Huh? You said finish your line.
It's okay. It's actually a ... So.
Is it a ...
Yeah.
The ... read it.
Oh, I hear you, you redneck moron. You got a dress that goes with that hat?
Oh, I'm going.
You're gonna what?
Sorry, I telegraphed that.
But what I don't see is what I want to see. And that's my leg.